Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Today we got a mixture of bit of Chelsea news regarding midfielders in 2023. We've obviously not had any football since the last Champions League game, and since then there have been developments and then pushbacks on potential sporting director vacancies being filled at Chelsea Football Club, with RB Salzburg's Christoph Freund, the good old friend, being rumoured as the number one. And then David Ornstein reported this morning, or late yesterday, I can't remember which time exactly it was now, I've got the screenshot in front of me, but there's no time on it that I can see at least, saying that it might have actually not been going as smoothly as initially planned and things might well be about to change. But in this video today, I want to talk a little bit about Boehly's first couple of months. We're obviously now 100 plus days, because we know on the 100th day, Thomas Tuchel was given the chop. But over on Last Fan Standing with BetVictor, you guys know I'm on the show, last week, we were talking about, does Boehly have a plan? And Adam McCullough had this to say.
And they need to back him properly, because... and when
how much more can they back him?
They
spent
I don't mean just spending money. I mean, look how does what the owner did this summer strike you as someone with a plan?
Not really.
To me, it doesn't.
Now, I personally think it's unfair with what we've seen in the early phases of Todd Boehly's time at Chelsea. I think it is a little bit unfair to say that there is no plan that he has at Chelsea Football Club. So I'm going to tell you my reasons why fully in this video today. But if you want to go and see what a United fan, a Spurs fan, and a Liverpool fan had to say about it, I will leave a link to the full episode of The Last Fan Standing from last week in the description. Make sure you subscribe to their channel and let everybody know in the comments what Chelsea fans think of what Boehly is currently doing at the club. Now, before we go into the positives about Boehly, first of all, I've got another new room. I've moved house again, and this time it's for 6 months, so hopefully I won't be having to move again. Got to sort the lighting out a little bit before we really get comfortable, but I've only recently just moved in, so just got to bear with that for a minute. The negatives so far about Todd Boehly, we're going to flash past them, but again, I think it's important to acknowledge it is very, very commonplace in the footballing world. Since Roman Abramovich took over at Chelsea, people want to see Chelsea fail. People think that Roman Abramovich was the catalyst for the way that money being spent changed in world football, Premier League football. And this is an argument that does stand. It is an argument that does carry legs with it. And I think because of that, Chelsea have always been scapegoated. And even with Manchester City, because of the beauty of the football that Pep Guardiola's Man City play, I kind of feel like it sometimes gets swept under the rug when City do spend masses of money, because Man City are a good team to watch, whereas Chelsea have been so easy to dislike over the years. And because we sack managers willy-nilly on a consistent basis, be it with Abramovich or even apparently Todd Boehly, people don't like this from Chelsea. People don't like the hire and fire. And people see a successful team like Antonio Conte's team, where we win the league. Next season we win the FA Cup. People are like, how can you go and sell a manager of Antonio Conte's quality? So people don't like that about Chelsea. So now that Tuchel was fired, Graham Potter was hired, people are looking at Boehly thinking, well, he said he wanted to do this and change this about the club's ethos, but he goes and does exactly what Abramovich has done. And this, in my opinion, is a shallow way of looking at things. If you analyse all of the things that Boehly has actually said, sacking Tuchel does fit with the narrative. And if it wasn't going to be done now, when would it be done? And if you come in and you buy a football club and you want to change things for a long-term vision, how long do you wait before you start to implement exactly what it is you want to do? So I think that criticism of Boehly at this point doesn't really hold the kind of legs that people are trying to give it in terms of there not being a plan around what's going on at Chelsea. I think in the first case, you can't just fire Tuchel immediately. I think this would have been if Tuchel would have got fired before you see a few bad results at the beginning of this season. I think it actually went as smoothly as the Boehly regime would have wanted it to, where they knew a few months ago that Tuchel wasn't the guy. And then when results don't start well at the beginning of the season, then you've got the uproar of a defeat in Zagreb. That is the time to pull the trigger. That's exactly what they've done. The thing that I also do find that I've not really spoken about here on the channel, but De Bruyne and Salah, mate, they weren't Chelsea Academy players. So that's concerning. A 4-4-3 is also a concerning formation, if that's what you actually believe is a genuine footballing formation. So I think Boehly has got stick in the early phases of his tenure as Chelsea owner because it's easy to look at these little things and be like, this guy don't know what he's doing. The attempts to appoint someone like Christoph Freund, who's been working at RB Salzburg, you can see here the kind of players that this guy has managed to try and bring in. Erling Haaland, Sadio Mane, Upamecano, Naby Keita, some of the best deals here with Fabrizio Romano's tweet. More than 500 million euros worth of profit from player trading. This is something that we have seen Chelsea struggle with over the years. We spend obnoxious, I'm going to say, sums of money sometimes on players that are nowhere near worth that value. It is a Premier League trend right now that it's not just Chelsea of the past that have been the kind of club to splash ridiculous cash on players that aren't worth that level of investment. Look at United in the summer. They spend 100 million on Antony. Is Antony a good player? Yes. Are we talking about potential? Yes. But 100 million, it's overpayment. Now what Todd Boehly's trying to do here is he's trying to come up with this plan, and not just come up with the plan, he's got the plan. And in order to implement the plan and for people to see that there is actually a plan, which is what football fans and not Chelsea fans right now, and even some Chelsea fans are questioning, does Boehly have a plan? Forget about some of the little mistakes that he's made with some of the things that he's said and focus on what he's actually going out there and doing. It's the same old adage with anything in life. Don't just watch someone's words. Look at their actions. And at the moment, the reason I back the Boehly regime so strongly at this point, let me just quickly mute that. I do it at this point is because he said he wants Chelsea to continue competing. He saw we needed players in the summer. What does he go and do? Spends £270 million. Then, yes, he puts himself in some odd-looking precarious positions within the club in terms of his role and his duties. It's also very important to remember that, from what we understand so far, Christoph Freund, whether this one goes through or not, we'll know more about that, I think, probably today or at the latest tomorrow, if this is actually going to happen. But he's also been approved, according to Fabrizio Romano here, by Graham Potter. So to fight the corner of the Boehly regime, to fight the idea that maybe there isn't a plan in place at Chelsea right now. If you bring in a manager with a 5-year contract because you want to see long-term development and improvements at your club, you then bring in sporting directors, not just because you like the geezer and you shared a decent spring roll in a restaurant for a little meeting and you agreed on a salary. You do it by placing Graham Potter and Christoph Freund together, and you merge these guys into a project. This project is only therefore actioned as a result of bringing them both in. So, does Todd Boehly have a plan? Yes, he does. And if you agree with what I say, let me know in my comments section, but also head over to the Last Fan Standing channel with BetVictor in the description and let them know that Chelsea fans disagree with everybody else's pessimism and skepticism surrounding our club at the moment. The final bits of news that we want to talk about today, and again, it's something we've been discussing for about 2 years here on GBFC, and we're talking specifically Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. Now, there is a report, according to Luis F. Rojo, reported here by Simon Phillips. Jorginho offered himself to Barcelona a few days ago, but the club is not considering his signing. Now, I don't know if I fully believe this one. Not the most reputable source in the world. Not saying Simon Phillips isn't reputable. I really like Simon and also his reporting. However, Jorginho might want to offer himself to clubs. I'm sure his agent is doing what he always does, offering Jorginho to everybody. But both contracts of Jorginho and N'Golo Kante expire next summer. Fabrizio Romano has also been caught talking about Chelsea needing midfielders. We looked at this summer. Defenders needed replacing. Next summer, it will be midfielders. Now, I think at least one of Jorginho and Kante leave. We have heard over the course of the last 2 weeks that N'Golo Kante was offered a 2-year deal with the possibility of an additional 1-year extension. N'Golo Kante wants a 3-year deal with the possibility of a 1-year extension. So, N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. We're going to talk about this in more detail as we look to build further upon what transfer rumours come up in coming weeks when Chelsea do sign sporting directors and we get to hear more about this cohesive vision between Boehly, Potter and whoever that sporting director may be. We can start to really look at potential business. Will it be Jude Bellingham? Could it be Declan Rice? Should it have been Tchouaméni in 2021? Possibly it should have done, but we missed the boat and he's at Real Madrid now killing it. So, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. You're not going to find N'Golo Kante offering himself to other clubs. You might keep seeing it from Jorginho, and I do think Jorginho will leave next summer. I think Kante might stay if Chelsea can come to the agreement and N'Golo Kante agrees to do a 2+1, or Chelsea should just realise that N'Golo Kante, when he's fit, is still a baller. And he said at one point he wanted to end his career at Chelsea. I believe that was true. So I hope he does. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on Christoph Freund. Is this one going to happen? Jorginho and Kante. Let me know your thoughts on their contracts as well in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Come on, you Blues.